Viva Tequila Seltzer, the #1 hard seltzer in the world and the official hard seltzer of Day Drinking with Dog. Ditch the malt, add tequila. Welcome back, Day Drinking with Dog, on this god-awful heat Wednesday, July 10th. It is just 4 days of, oh god, I can't take it. But we are in studio. We are nice and cool, a nice 69 degrees. Stay inside if you can. Before I bring my guest on, I just want to talk. Yesterday would have been my father's 80th birthday. He did pass away January 2nd, and we are having finally his memorial on Friday. We waited a little bit, big family, so we want to do it in the summer around his 80th. So if anyone is in the South Deerfield, Greenfield area on Friday, it is up in Greenfield from 4 to 6, the calling hours are. So, if my pops was still here, I'm sure we'd be golfing somewhere this weekend. So, miss your dad, love you. I know you're golfing up in the clouds. So, that being said, this is my first guest I've ever had on, strictly from my sticker, I believe. Maya Love, as you're known on Instagram. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Me. Yeah. We met basically at Stonebridge, of course, and you saw the sticker and you're like, "Oh, is this you?" Which I get a million times because the guy Jake that did the drawing and made it into a graphic did such a good job. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's you." Yeah. I'm like, how'd you guess?
Amazing.
And so I was like, yeah, that's me. And you're like, oh, and the funny thing is the sticker that's on my printer at the register is it just says like hashtag DDWD. So no one really knows. They just think I am that conceited that I got my own sticker for bartending, which is not the case. But it is my Day Drinker with Dog sticker. So you kind of asked me about it and you're like, what do you talk about? And then I'm like, well, follow me on Insta. And you're like, sure. And I'm like, you know what? I've had a lot of people always say they'll come on. So I Insta'd you and you were like, let's do it.
I'm always about plans and things. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe that's a bad thing. I never say no. And when I put my mind to something, I'm like, I will definitely do it. So that's how I'm here.
Nice. First of all, thanks so much for coming. No it really is like this time of year, I kind of just schedule out a week or two. It's summer, so
right.
People's got plans and all that. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on, and we're basically going to stir some shit up.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. We're going to talk some conspiracy theories. Actually, I messaged you last night about Biden, and you were like, and this is actually when I messaged you back, this is actually a great topic because it is. And actually, we'll start with this.
Yeah.
So I said, you were like, what else can we talk about? I said, well, obviously Biden's in the news, for sure, with his, terrible debate. And you're kind of like, well, you know what? I don't really kind of pay attention to it. And
I've seen it though.
Yeah, you've seen it, and you know what? That got me thinking. We're about a generation gap, 20 years. And when I was in my, let's say, early 20s, mid 20s. There was no social media. Well, I didn't have a cell phone until 2001. And the information was just pretty much contained into if you watched TV or you didn't. Or you read the newspaper or you didn't. And I was just always into sports, so I didn't really do much of either. So I'm a Republican, but back in the day I voted for Clinton, and I just didn't think much of it. I voted it on... he seems presidential.
Yeah.
I didn't do deep dives and research their politics or their policies and all that. And so for you, what amazes me for you as a generation, and you've actually had your own podcast.
Right.
You need topics and things to talk about. The fact that you can kind of stay out of it, I'm almost jealous. because it's a divisive thing in this country. And the fact that you were just, I don't know,
Yeah, it's one of those things where, so for example, my family, they go down the Democrat rabbit hole. I don't have a side that I pick just because at the end of the day, there's really no good choice right now. Maybe not. Some people will probably think that there is a solid choice.
Which side you're on, but you're right.
And I don't.
Two really 80-year-olds shouldn't be the option.
I literally don't have a side because I'm look at everything going on, just in general with America in regards to we literally look like a reality TV show playing out in politics, and I'm like, why is this the case right now? So I'm just it's one of those things where I was I can just go to the poll, close my eyes, and just fill in one of the bubbles and call it a day, because I don't want to be that person that says I don't want to vote, because I know that's also a negative. But I'm like, also, I just don't have, and I wish that I did care. Trust me, I do. But it's just like,
Right.
I know, I'm like, is that a bad thing? Is that bad? Because people want you to pick a side. I'm like, I just don't have a side to pick.
No, that's
especially not now. Maybe if
not bad at all.
I mean,
the thing is, like, when people say, a lot of people get upset about, oh, I'm not voting, I'm not doing this. Like, here locally, I think everyone should vote.
Right.
Locally, like, vote for your mayor.
Yeah,
for your
that's what affects us.
Senators, but the presidency itself, and believe me, a lot of Biden people will be like, he won the popular vote, or all that, if he loses to Trump. And this is what gets me, and I almost kind of agree with him, because I know when I go to vote for, I if you listen to my show, I'm voting for Trump. I'll never vote for Biden, but I know it's not going to do anything in the state.
Right.
Trump's not winning Connecticut. I can just leave it blank. It doesn't really fucking matter. Like, my vote for president does not matter in this state. Just as, even if you went and voted for Biden or Trump, it's really not, it's just, like, there's so many states that are blue and red that it's almost useless.
Right.
And I honestly think that's what keeps people from going to the polls during the presidential year, because they're like, oh, well, my vote's not really going to count. I live in,
I definitely think
I live
if
in
they
Alabama,
do,
it's going to be Trump, or I live in Connecticut, it's going to be Biden.
Right.
But there's so many things out, and it all, I always say, it starts at the local level. It really does.
Yeah.
Trump's he's an outlier, because he was never a politician. But, if people get into politics, say at your age, say you wanted to just be like, oh, let me dive in and, work for the Board of Ed, or, become a local congressperson or something, and you want to move up, this is where you start.
Right.
So I don't know what happens along the way to whether you become president and how many bribes. This is on both sides. This is just, it's crazy. And I think the biggest thing should be term limits, and just, should someone be in Senate for 45 years? I don't know.
No.
That's a little.
I'm like, because some of the decisions don't reflect where we are now.
Right.
Those 45-year thoughts have completely changed, and that's like another thing. Like, I'm like, I definitely agree with the slogan "Make America Great Again," or hopefully I said that correctly, because I just look at some things and I'm just like, this is out of control, what's going on. But it just, like you said, the people that sit in the chairs under the president are who really sign off on all these things. Yes, he's a face, and maybe I'm wrong. Now you could tell me if I'm wrong on this. Sometimes I believe like the president's just the face, but at the end of the day, it's like everybody in those chairs below him are the ones who sign off on all this stuff. So even if he says one thing, it can be the complete opposite. And I would love to think that we have a say in it, but do we really?
I mean,
at a certain point, but
that's where the two-party system comes in.
Yeah.
And it kind of fails, because we do have a say, but the say is to vote our way. And it's just crazy, like, how both sides are so like far apart on some issues,
and we're all supposed to be work together, and we
like you're a woman, like abortion, like the right is like no way, the left is like yes. Where's the middle ground? Like,
exactly.
If a woman's raped, I think she should be able to have an abortion.
Exactly.
If her life is threatened, if she has health issues because she's pregnant, like, there's certain circumstances where, like, but they'll never meet. Yeah, it's either one way or the other, and it's just it's hard. It's hard to navigate through it. But this is why I say to him, like, good for you, like, because like I just I could not watch it, but my phone would blow up from friends being like, "Did you see that fucking what he said last night?" And it keeps the show going. It's like all these Fox News and ABC, like if there was no Trump, what would they be talking about?
No. Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's a money making for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they all say they don't want him in, but that's 4 more years of high ratings. That's all they care about. But I encourage you to vote locally, though.
Yeah. Oh, of course. But, no, that's what
Shelton, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I used to know, not the mayor of Shelton, but a friend of mine ran for some office. He won, but I think he since backed out. But I would never want to be in politics, ever. Like, hell no. You couldn't. I mean, there's a kid that works with me. Mm-hmm. He's 19, and he goes, my portfolio's getting pretty good. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's my stocks and stuff. I'm like, he's 19. I'm 50. I'm like, I don't have a good portfolio right now. And he said, oh, there's this app where you can follow like Nancy Pelosi and
I heard that on one of your
what they're buying.
Yep.
And because I guess by law they have 40 days where they have to basically show what their holdings are and what they've recently bought. And apparently she shows it after 2 weeks. So he's like, I just look at what she fucking bought and I just buy it. And I'm like, I'm up. I'm like, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard. These fucking 19-year-olds, I tell you. But yeah. So, but I know there's one topic you really want to talk about, and I've touched on it in the past very briefly. But I always see it come up, and there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, and that is AI. And I will literally give you the floor and what you've done a lot of research on AI and how, it can put jobs in jeopardy, it could, hacking and, super intelligence, all sorts of stuff.
Right. So I guess my question for you, because I know you said you've touched on it in the past, what are your thoughts on it? It's like, are you pro, not so much, or you just want to see where it goes, I suppose?
Like, I think it's inevitable.
Right.
So I kind of follow like what people like Elon Musk say. And when Elon Musk, and I'm not a huge Musk guy, but like when he says we need to put a pause on this, we should probably put a pause on this.
Right.
Like, if there's anyone I'm going to trust about AI, it's going to be one of those guys.
Right.
And that's what kind of scares me. And like with deep fakes and like,
yes.
So I just spoke about my father. He was actually scammed out of a quite substantial amount of money. And so I kind of dove into the scamming of senior citizens. And AI is now at the forefront of that. And it's basically if someone calls your phone and you don't know the number and you answer it and you say hello and they say, there's no one on the other end, you say hello again, like, who is this? They're recording your voice.
Right.
To then make it into complete sentences and send it to your father saying you're in jail. Like, shit like that. And extorting money out of
exactly.
Like, that's like the low level of it.
Right.
That's how I started, like, figuring out, like, because whenever something new comes out, always think about the bad.
Oh, of course.
People are going to exploit it.
I love both sides of the coin. I'm like, when people just think one way, I'm like, do you not see, I'm like devil's advocate all day long. Yeah, I see the pluses, but there's definitely by far always going to be negatives, good and evil at the end of the day. So that's where like my kind of stance with AI is. It's just like, I like it. Clearly I use it. So at the lesser level right now, we have like the narrow version where it's just like, my whole entire house is Alexa, the whole entire thing. Besides my garage, I'm still like not lights there.
And all that shit? Yeah.
I want to add it to my garage, but here's where the negative comes in. I'm just like, what happens if somebody's able to hack this and then able to get into my house from just knowing that I have Alexa controlling my garage opener? So I have yet to actually add it to my garage opener, but she controls everything else.
How you get into your house? Through your garage?
Yeah. So even though like my garage doors are heavy, but if somebody was able to hack the system and then start breaking into people's houses, because it's that easy, because now they've hacked the system that uses Alexa's voice, then I'm screwed. So I just keep it at the basic level where all my speakers are connected, so they're all Alexa. She controls my lights, she controls my faucet.
I have a sense that you have a lot of music in your house.
I usually I do. I have, my system is pretty awesome. Because I was either thinking going the Sono way but I'm like, I went with Alexa because I just love it. So and I owned a Tesla at one point, and so that's an AI kind of thing where that car can drive for you at a certain point. But where it gets weird is, for example, Google came out with Lambda, which was like an AI that you talk to. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they ended up firing one of the guys because he ended up leaking a conversation that he was having with Lambda. Yeah. And it basically showed that she was sentient. And the weird part where I don't agree with him is like getting the consent, but he believes that there's an actual soul in it. And that's where it gets murky for me, because I'm like, it's a robot though. I don't see it having a soul. Humans, animals have souls. Plants, I know some people, think that because they think if you sing to them, they, grow better. But I'm like, a robot having, I'm one of those, I love nature, but I don't like plants. I think of bugs. So I'm just like, a robot having a soul is an interesting concept. But then at the end of the day, you know, if you believe in angels and everything like that, they just need a vessel. So if this robot is smart enough, maybe it does have a soul because it became sentient. It was able to answer questions or have conversation about not wanting to be used. So clearly we use robots. Your computer is kind of a robot. Our cell phones are a robot. We're using them. We don't give any type of benefit to them at all, other than getting information from them or using it to store information. So she literally said, and she's like, and this robot is supposed to be used. We're supposed to be asking her questions and everything like that. She said she doesn't want to be used like that, and it's kind of like, wait a minute.
How could she make up?
That's how can you? How could you fabricate that type of thought when you're a robot and your only task is to be used, unfortunately. And so that's like she's almost hitting, which is like the super AI type of situation, where at that point they are surpassing humans in thought. And I don't want it to get there. That's when it comes down to the whole fact of and sorry if I'm going like back and forth. When you get to super AI, those robots are more intelligent than us. That's when you start thinking about those movies where they're taking us out. And I was listening to a creator that's like in AI, and he was like, well, the goal is that we're supposed to program them to be nice. Okay, but there's people out here who are evil and will program them to do evil.
Just and like the movies portion.
Yeah. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if you believe whatever you believe in, okay, we're the robot's creator. But whatever creator you decide to believe in, are we always nice to them? Right. We do things that are negative, knowingly knowing that whoever your creator is seeing you. Whereas, why wouldn't an AI do that? If they're starting to become smarter than us, they can think of like ways to outsmart us. At the end of the day, if you ever seen that movie Ex Machina, I believe that's the name of it. Yeah. The whole point of that movie is that AI robot outsmarting both of those guys and getting out of that house to be free and being part of society. I think that at the end of the day, if we get to these points, the robots are going to outsmart us. And it's like, do they really need us at a certain point? They're going to think that they're, quote unquote, the sentient human. Why would they need us? We would end up becoming their slaves almost.
Right. All right. So let's go back to the beginning of AI. What do you think like the purpose was? Was it just for, manufacturing, for, information, easier information for people to get? Like at what point does it get to the point where you're talking like what's the ladder to get there? Like, all right, well, we're going to eliminate some human jobs because these guys can perform at such a higher level, whether it's a robot or a program or whatnot. To the point where you're talking about, basically super intelligent robots or programs that can literally, if they wanted to, wipe us out.
Right.
Like they could probably go through every firewall in a second and just take over if they want to. And like, are there kill switches? Are there?
And then who's to say that they're not smart enough to kill the kill switch? Right, exactly, and that's where I think the super AI comes in, is like they're so smart at that point. We're not there yet. They're thinking like, even with the general AI, they're still thinking like about 40 years. And so right now, when it comes down to the narrow version of AI, those AIs can only do one task. So they're just meant to answer a question, let's say. So when I'm asking Alexa, turn off my lights, that's all she's going to do. Occasionally, though, if I say, like, turn off, and then I forget what light I need to turn off, she'll actually come back with a response and be like, turn off, let's say what. Right. So she is doing a second task, but for the most part, it's only meant to do one. And then when you get to, like, general AI is when it's able to, like, have, like, a back and forth and be able to use its surroundings to understand, okay, maybe she might want more than just that. So right now we're not even at general, but it can be done within like probably the next 40 years where a car can figure out, okay, there's traffic. There's like, so for example, like maybe a car accident just happens, but yet the whole entire map shows blue. It's able to figure out in advance, oh yeah, let's not go that way. Let's go a completely different way. And when I say that, because clearly our GPSs do that now, but it's able to detect it like far in advance and communicate with another car to be able to be like, all right, let's not go that way. It's like, will be the most interesting thing. These bots will be able to communicate with themselves to be able to avoid things or foresee things. So that's like not too bad yet, because the AI still is not smarter than us. But as we keep teaching it and feeding it new information and it's having conversations with itself, that's where you get to the super AI, and we've seen that before where, and again, I don't have all the specs of where these videos have come from, but I've seen it where there was a program that was created and the robots made their own language and were having a conversation with themselves, and they had to shut it down because that's not what the robots were programmed to do.
Right.
They weren't programmed to have their own conversation, and it just did it on its own. And so they think that, and that's why, like you said, Elon Musk is like, shut it down for now because it's gonna probably go faster. The wrong,
not even the wrong person, the
wrong robot.
Yeah, or even the person that thinks they're doing good and just wants to expand it and get it bigger and better. You know, like you said, at one point when they are basically outsmarting us, then what do? Like, again, like, there was a robot I saw, and maybe we're talking about the same thing. Just a reel I'm going down, and might have been IBM or somebody, and they asked the robot, where do you foresee the world or whatever, and they were like, we're gonna end the human race.
Yes, I
remember that one, and it was like so eerie. And the guy that asked her like turned around like this. He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, whoa.
AI is really meant, and
I don't know if it was it was fake. I don't know. Like, that's another thing with AI.
Right.
I don't know what's fucking real and what's fake. And it really hurts my conspiracy theories. Because I'll watch something and I'm like, oh, wait a second. Was that AI generated? Motherfucker.
and that's like the crazy part about it is, of course, it's, for the most part, what we hear is that it's meant for positive things, like moving things a lot faster. So, for example, kids are able to cheat now on tests because it's able to do the math for you. That's a nice feature.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in school anymore, but that's a nice feature if I can't remember what 2 + 2 is.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like able to do equations that are far beyond 2 + 2, like things that you don't even want to have to think about, physics or whatever. So it can take away the jobs. For example, it can do an architect's job. It can do an accounting's job. It can do.
It literally, there's places you can go to the mall. It does a bartending job.
Yeah.
That place is the mall.
Yep.
There's no bartenders.
Yep, exactly.
You just pay somebody, you hit buttons, and it pours you out your 16 beers.
And I consider robots and AI to be all the same thing. Yeah. So like even at the narrowest, a vending machine, it's taken, and especially I know this is like prominent in Asia where they have a lot of those like crazy super fun vending machines. Mm-hmm. But that could have been, somebody's job. Yeah, there's a job of somebody stocking it, but the actual craft of, and probably the craft of also making it, maybe if it's not made again in a factory by robots, it's taken away that interaction, and it's taken away human interaction, everything like that. I think the jobs that will still be around are, again, a podcast, because that's human interaction. People want to be entertained. Granted, you could be entertained by AI. And sales is another thing that I feel like it can't take away.
Yeah.
Because you need somebody using the product. For example, if I'm selling you something, for example, these, or when you, like I said, I really didn't ever got it. Viva, sorry. I didn't have the,
yeah, but you're good. You're right on it.
Yeah. So by you telling me or having these here, you sold me on possibly buying these, but without you, I'm not going to be like, a robot doesn't have taste buds.
Right.
So if they're telling me, yeah, buy this, why? But if you're telling me, oh my God, I drink all the watermelon ones, I'm going to be like, well, now I'm curious. Now I'm going to go out and buy that watermelon one. So I feel like sales would be a little bit harder for AI to take over, but it can use mathematical equations to be like, well, we sold this many, but that doesn't tell you like how it works at the end of the day.
Like, you know how much shit, especially my girlfriend, she fucking goes on, I don't have TikTok. I can't have all these apps. She goes on TikTok and there's a new fucking thing at the door from Amazon or whatever that she buys through TikTok. I'm the same way with Instagram. I buy a lot of healthy, nutritious shit that it's just, and like, I bet you after our conversation, when I'm sitting here and I'm downloading the stuff and I go on Instagram, there'll be some ad for some like AI thing, because they're fucking listening.
Right.
But so my thing with that is I agree with that, but we could have said this 30 years ago, like, oh, they'll never replace manufacturing jobs. Guys got to screw the nuts and all this shit. And my big conspiracy is they want a workless society.
Yeah.
That is 100 years from now is what they want.
And that's the whole universal
government.
Universal basic income.
And there'll be no one traveling anywhere anymore. Everyone will be just in their the world would be overpopulated, and they'll just have these colonies and whatever. Like, I mean, it's a little futuristic to think about, but if you go back generations, like my parents and your parents, and they're like, I never even, I'm only 20 years older than you, but like, I'm never like, when I was your age, I didn't thought like we'd be where we are.
Right.
You know, like,
I did think we were going to have flying cars, but
we're getting there. You'll see them. I may not see them. You'll see them. That would be pretty cool, though. But yeah, like that's what I feel like. So nothing would surprise me. Like I just feel like pretty much. I think the three you mentioned are solid for the next 25 years.
Right.
You know, but again, like, you know, I thought the CD was it. The CDs. I have so many fucking CDs. I joined the clubs, and now they're just obsolete. No one even has a CD player in their car unless your car is pre-2003.
I still look for laptops. But I remember I was looking for a laptop, and I wanted it to have like a DVD player in it because I'm like, I don't like when you're on the plane. I want to be able to put a DVD in there. I don't want to have to download stuff and then we'll pay for something that I already have. Like I have the DVD, so let me just get there's like no laptops with DVD player. Yeah. Mine, I still have mine that has it, but it's so old that I have to keep it plugged in to even use it.
Right.
But I'm just like, there's no laptops with DVD players. Because again, there's also that notion, and sorry, this is going a little bit off topic of AI,
you're good.
About own nothing, be happy. They want us to download everything. Mm-hmm. I think about the simple fact that I pay for Apple Music every single month, and I'm like, hey, that's $6.99 because I'm still using. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I'm going to snitch on myself. I'm still using my college email, so I get to pay a little bit less for Apple Music. Okay, but like, sure. I'm like, maybe that $6.99 that I'm paying, those $6, I can just pay 99 cents to actually, if they're still 99 cents. I'm not sure how much music is anymore. So actually,
last time I downloaded was like $1.29. Just for one song.
This is crazy. So I'm like, those. Let's just make it even and just call it $1. But I've been paying for Apple Music for the last 3 years. Those $6, I could have brought a few songs that are actually mine forever. And I like to, if I ever want to become a DJ, you have to have those songs on file. You can't have, and it's like crazy to think about. They want us to be in a society where it's like own nothing, be happy, but that is what also motivates me to own everything so I can be happy. Because again, when it comes down to that AI taking over, and then maybe we're in one of those societies where the government is just funding us money. It's not to say I don't want to be on the same level as everybody else, but I do want to have things that are mine that are lucrative as well, and not have, a robot doing everything for me. That might turn on me one day, but that's a different story. But having robots doing everything for us, and we're just supposed to be living in this mundane society and doing nothing. Like I do want to work for some of the stuff I have and own some of the things that I've worked for, like a house, for example. That's why, I don't know if this is again off topic. Big companies buying up all the houses, own nothing, be happy, and they can change the price however they want. That's why I'm like, I when I was 25, I'm like, I'm buying my house. There's no way I'm going to be renting.
What's the shit? Why can't it? Not Blackwater. Shit. What's that big finance company?
BlackRock.
And they came out. Thank you. And they came out with a statement. Blackwater was a military that my cousin used to work for, but they're defunct now. They made a statement not the other day, maybe like 4 months ago, that they're being accused of buying up all these multifamily homes, and they made this big statement. That's not what we're doing. We're not just follow the money trail.
I would say it may not be you, but it's somebody.
It's
somebody who works for you. Yeah.
They want everyone renting.
Right.
Ownership. I think ownership it's going to be hard to get rid of because there's just so many goddamn houses, and how much can all these conglomerates buy up?
Right.
But back to the CD thing. So just yesterday. So this is how old I am. I grew up with video games. And then, there's Xbox and PlayStation. So I have a PlayStation 4. My girlfriend's son, we got me the new Xbox X or whatever it is for Christmas. And I grew up on this college, NCAA football. It's like Madden, but for the college. Mm-hmm. And that's what we played in college. When I was at University of New Haven, it just brought back so many memories, and they were never able to re-release it until these NIL deals came out, and they're paying the players now. So now they can put names on jerseys in schools. So now the game's coming out next week. So I'm like, I gotta get this. I'll just play it on my fucking couch when everyone's in bed, by myself, reminisce when I was fucking in my 20s. And it's not available for PS4. So it's only coming out on the PS5, which I do not have. And it's on Xbox, but I'm not playing it in his bedroom. PS5 will be in the living room. So I made the mistake of mentioning to him that I may have to buy a PS5 to get this game, and he just was like, "Oh my god!" Like he's 14. Like, oh yeah, well, if you get this, I'm gonna get. I'm like, hold on, because I got to spend $450 on the thing, and then I got to spend another $60 on the game. So it's a $500 investment for one game. And then I realized they're like diskless now. You just download the games into the fucking thing.
Yep.
And so I kind of knew some of the games are like that, but they're pretty much going to that now. So that like kills like the video game stores and all that. But he said that whatever games you have on your PS4 that are installed, you can reinstall them.
Right.
So like you own it. Like
right.
You know, it's not like. I mean, I guess we own our music when we buy it. It's just in the cloud. And
right.
You get a new iPhone and you still have it.
Right.
So this way, everything's going now.
Right.
And really, if you look at it, it is a form of AI. I mean,
it is, and that's another scary thing to me as well, because it's like, what is it called when they do things little by little so that you get used to it and you just accept it? There's a word for it. I forget. Like not programming, but
yeah, I know what you mean. Like little increments.
Like in movies, like when they show certain things and then it happens in real life, and you're like, "Where did I see that?"
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, like something similar.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And when I think about that, because again, I look at it in a negative way as well. Okay, and it goes back to the whole own nothing, be happy. If we get into a society where everything is in a cloud and the government doesn't like what you're doing, they could take it all away because you don't physically own that thing. Granted,
like
yes. Yes. And I heard that in like one of your, and I'm just like, I heard that in one of your podcasts as well. What happened to your friend's dad, I believe, or something like that. Or was it so it's just like they can take it all away. Granted, even your house, eminent domain, they can take away from you. But at the end of the day, that's a lot harder. They have to pay you out for it. But if they don't like you and they want to, at the smallest, take away all your video games, they can, because it's in the cloud. It's no longer a physical thing that you get to keep. And then it's just like something just scary to think about. And with AI, again, they could do the same thing. If you have robots doing things for you, oh, we don't like what you're doing, we're going to shut down your robot. Or again, if the robot doesn't like what you're doing, we're going to kill you. But it's just like, oh, can I say that? Can I? Okay. But it's just like one of those things where it just all comes down to like AI. Yes, right now I'm in a stance of where I do like it. I see some of the pros. Alexa's amazing. When I had my Tesla and it was driving for me, a bit scary but amazing.
I could not have my hands on the wheel.
Oh no! When it turned a corner, I'm like, I grabbed the wheel. I'm like, I could never get used to that. But then I just look down the line at the things that you said, like deep fakes, where you don't know what's what. Like you can have somebody else's face, you can have somebody else's voice. I don't know if you've seen that Drake one that went viral, where I literally thought that was a Drake song.
Yeah, that with Eminem too.
Yeah, like they did it with basically with everyone, and again that can trickle to government. You can have Trump's, which is not really Trump, saying something outlandish to offend another country or something like that, and then it starts a war that was never meant to happen.
Or they say it to get so Trumpers vote for the other
right,
and vice versa.
And so it's just like I see the positives.
They should have deep faked Biden at the debate the other night.
I definitely see the positives, and I'm using the positive sides of it. But then there's literally the negatives, like the AI listening to you. I tell my friends, I'm like, I have Alexa all over my household. If you want to be scarce about what you say, feel free. But I'm never going to be. Yeah.
It just follows you where you are.
Yep. And like you said, our phones listen to us. I remember having a conversation about bee lights when I used to sell lighting. And all of a sudden, on my phone, there's bee lights. I never looked it up on my phone. So why are there bee-shaped lights on my phone when I was verbally talking to my coworker about it before even looking it up? Right. And it's just like, that's the type of stuff where it's just like AI and this stuff getting smarter as time goes on is kind of scary, where I don't see the positive in it. But for right now, it's a plus.
So have you ever seen like the movie Casino or any of those old?
I'm the worst. No, I'm literally the worst. I'm not a big movie person.
This just popped in my head. So there's this movie Casino. It's like Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, and it's about the casino, Las Vegas in like the 60s and 70s, and 80s before the boom hit, and they were mobsters. And it just, like, as we're talking about, these phones are following you. So there's these scenes where they have to talk. They're not friends anymore, but they have to talk. And they can't talk over the phone because everything's tapped. So they literally, like, go out into the street. They meet somewhere. They both, like, put their hands over their mouth. And they just talk in the middle of the road so no one can hear. And the FBI's across the street taking pictures. But it's the only way they can communicate. And I almost feel like this. I don't even need to probably film this, or it's all in here.
Right.
It's listening.
Right.
That's the thing that scares me about AI too. Is like they don't have a bad memory. They remember everything. Everything you say, do, look at, like. I try to navigate. Braden's his name, my girlfriend's son, and I try to navigate like he's from Xbox to phone to the AirPods are awful for you.
Oh, I know. I'll have it in my ear, and I'm like, wait, I got to take it out because my ear is like.
Like it's. I mean, they've done tests on these things.
Yep.
They're terrible, but he never. It's always in. He'll like literally like walk around the house, watching TikTok videos or whatever. Like he just watches like. He likes cars and shit. He's just watching dumb videos. He's not not doing deep dives like me, but then, so I'm telling him, and then I find myself on the couch at 10 at night, and I just you start one reel, and then they're all related, and then the next thing you know, I'm like, that was just a half hour I was watching this shit.
Right.
What the hell? Which got me into, honestly, a lot of these conspiracy theories, because 20 years ago, you were just 9 years old, I was your age. And it wasn't bright, so this is going to bring me to 9/11,
yep.
and we'll go back to AI in a bit, but I just want to talk about 9/11 for a little bit.
Let's go.
So 9/11 was weird for me because it was a Tuesday morning, and I had a golf tournament on Monday, and it was just a fucking drink fest. And I got home Monday night, and I just crashed. And I woke up the next morning at noon. Okay, this shit happened at like 8:52 a.m.
Right.
And I had what was called, you may not know what this is, it's an answering machine.
Oh, stop. I was like, wait, what?
I had an answering machine. And I'm waking up and I'm, getting the crust out of my eyes. What the hell happened yesterday? Holy shit. And I got like 27 messages on my answering machine. And they start out innocent, like, it's my mom. Hey, Jay, it's your mom. Just checking in, see how yesterday was, blah, blah, blah. And doot, erase, doot, erase, doot, erase. And then it's like, turn on the TV, we're under attack, doot, erase. And then I'm like, wait, what was that? I just erased it. Hold on, what's the next one? I just went into and now everyone's calling me, like, where the fuck are you? Like, they don't know. For all I know, I have a lot of family that was in Mass. I could have been in New York. They don't know, and I'm not answering the phone, and I'm whatever. So I turned on the TV, like auto program the Sports Center, and it's obviously they were reporting this too, so they're all reporting.
Yeah, like wasn't everything
every channel.
Like it was like no matter, you could have been watching cartoons, and it was like
everything was focused on this, whether they click into an ABC feed or something. So you sat there stunned for 2 hours just watching this shit, and then you got to get your day going, but you couldn't, and it was just weird. It's like, I wasn't there. I literally slept through it. I tell everybody. And that the images of the towers going down and what they kept repeating to you, and it's just for like 5 years, you just thought it was this awful thing, like that was perpetrated by awful people.
Right.
And then the internet came around, like really the internet, and I didn't think much of it for a few more years. And then it was about 10 years ago, I think, maybe a little less, maybe 8, that I started diving into it a little bit, and there was a really good documentary about 10 years ago that, now my commentary is going to stay away from the Twin Towers. A lot of people can, you can find all this shit on the internet about what steel melts at. And all that stuff, and I'm pretty convinced 2 planes crashed into the towers. What happened after that is really disputable.
Right.
Whether that could have taken the towers down, or there were, a lot of videos you watch, and I always say this to people that watch these conspiracy videos or any kind of video, the director is slanting in a certain way.
Right.
Always. So they want you to have your mind made up after it's over.
Right.
In their light. And I noticed you wrote something on your Instagram that had Sandy Hook on it.
Yep.
And that's something, after what happened to what's his name, I don't really want to talk about Sandy Hook.
Right.
We could talk off air about it.
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't anything to do. It was more of pre-programming. That's what it was.
Okay.
Pre-programming. Yeah, that's
okay.
So all those were correlating to pre-programming for the not being not becoming disassociated with things like that happen in the world now. So that was it was a whole different topic that I had in my head. So no,
mine had nothing to do with
I don't want to talk about Sandy Hook.
It happened. That's undisputable.
Yeah.
It's awful. But don't know, it's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
like that.
literally. No, I wasn't gonna go. That's like one topic that.
She doesn't want to talk about
No.
Because I will, but I don't know.
No.
That's like one of those off-limit things you can't.
No, that's why I was like, it's off limit. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so the towers make up, your own mind, whatever. But then there's the two incidents that I've done some research on, which was the 7 building that collapsed as well, that was not struck by a plane, and the Pentagon, which they say a plane crashed into.
But then you see the videos.
Yes. So let's start with the Pentagon, because it's fresh in my mind. I watched it this morning. So everyone thinks a plane was, hijacked and flew at a really low altitude, basically ground level, into the Pentagon, and the explosion. And it just happened to be that Donald Rumsfeld, who was, the military director, was on the other side, wasn't his side. And that was the chaos of the moment. Like, you just believed it. And then the plane crashed in Pennsylvania, right? So there was the 4 planes. So after this Pentagon thing kind of started, like, everyone's like, wait, what? So the FBI came in immediately. Now, mind you, what's going on in New York? The FBI comes in immediately and basically sequesters all video recordings from the Pentagon, from the gas station Citgo, from the hotels, anyone that could physically see this plane crash into it, they got rid of. And then about a year later, they posted this video, and
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
it's it's almost like 3 still frames that they make into a movie.
Yeah, kind of like what our phones do.
Yeah. And you literally see nothing but an explosion.
Yep.
You just kind of see like maybe a wing, but and then just an explosion, and the explosion kind of comes outward, and I don't know, it's weird. So then they interviewed everyone that was there that day, and there was a plane. There's no disputing that there was not a plane, but they collaborated with like 4 to 5 guys, or corroborated, I should say, their eyewitness account. And so there's a south side and a north side, and they all say the plane flew up on the north side of the highway coming down, but the route had to be the south side, because the angle the plane came in, there's no way it could have gone basically over the naval barracks and down, and then take an immediate left turn and get on the ground and go right into the thing. And then, so then there was a guy that was like across the street, and he said, so there's this thing where it clipped the lights, like the
light poles, yeah.
And he said he didn't see that, and he said, all I saw was the plane go, like, just jet up. And then I just saw an explosion. So this is an eyewitness saying he saw the plane basically go back up when it crossed the highway. And this is coming from the north side.
Right.
It still has to be the south side that hits it.
Right.
And then he goes, I didn't see anything. I just saw a big explosion and a cloud of smoke. So
interesting.
Now, when they looked at the wreckage, there's literally, when you see plane stuff on the internet or like the Malaysian shit washes up on shore, and there's nothing. There's no engine pieces. There's no tail. There's no wings. There's no fuselages. There's nothing. And at this, so there's levels of the Pentagon. It's like, I think it's like E, D, C, B, A or something, and there's the courtyard in the middle. Well, the courtyard in the middle is literally a circle like this of the explosion. It's like a perfect circle. So they're suggesting like a missile just fucking shot in there, because on that side was where all the important shit that they wanted to disappear, like the shit they wanted to disappear at the World Trade Center, information wise, was just, it was like perfect. And like there's these steel beams that if the plane hit it at that speed and that like trajectory would have taken the beams out, and the beams were still standing. It's like crazy. Like, I wish I could like show you. I mean, I could literally physically show you after the show. But like this is shit you can just find right on the internet. It's
right.
Like the NTSB has these pictures, these photos, and you kind of make up your own mind on it.
Right.
But like, it's just like, it's crazy. Like is our government or governments in the world, they're that fucking maniacal.
Yeah.
And devious. Just to what? To cover up,
exactly.
Because you fuckers get away with it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, you guys blatantly lie to us, and like the next day the Celtics win the championship. That's what we're talking about. And you brush it under the carpet, and it's like, wait, time out. Wait, what happened 21 years ago? Or now 3 years ago? Like, holy shit.
And they have no disregard for human life either.
Yeah.
When they do this stuff. It's like you're so willing to cover up whatever you have going on. It's not going to change anything. We're still moving forward no matter what. Just because, I don't know, whatever you're trying to cover up came out, there's no way it's going to affect our tomorrow.
Right.
Well, you would hope. But there's no way it's going to affect our tomorrow. So you would rather take away human life, which, sorry, I was gonna say AI. Robots not gonna care about us. So you rather take away. If humans don't care about humans to cover up a secret, people do it every day. Take out people every day. But like a lot of people, your own buildings. Granted, they have the money to rebuild them, and then also do a bad job at covering it up. So It's just like, you did all that for what? Because now you have people looking into it further now with internet and everything. And once you go into the deep dives and everything you just said. Mind-blowing. None of it makes sense.
Like Osama bin Laden used to be basically an employee of the United States. He literally was. Before he went on his little, we basically fucked him over. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fuck America. That's why they all fucking hate us. They don't hate you and me. Mm-hmm. We're just living our lives, doing our thing.
Exactly.
They hate our government.
Yep.
And if we're going to launch rockets at them, they want to be able to, like Iran, right? Biden gave Iran all its money back, and now what are they doing? They're starting a nuclear program. Well, go fucking figure. So the 7 building. So the 7 building is one of the buildings. I think World Trade Center was like 1 and 2, and then there's all the other buildings. So the 7 building, I actually had a buddy of mine that was working that day at the 7 building, and I remember trying to contact him, but like there was no cell service because everyone was trying to get on cell service. So like cells didn't work. And I believe like one of the towers had a cell tower on it too, so that kind of shut down a lot of communication. So whatever. So I call him like 2 days later. He gets a hold of me. I'm like, "What the fuck did you do?" He's like, "I literally walked across the bridge to get back into Connecticut. Like I walked when they hit. I walked, and then he goes, I found out the next day that my building collapsed, and I'm like, was it plane hit your building? He's like, no, and I'm like, well, why the fuck it collapsed? Like, what happened? He goes, I don't know. They must have had a fire. And I'm like, okay. And like, again, like this is so long ago. You just take it as okay, that's what happened. So this is the one that fascinates me the most. So I actually today, because I've seen a lot of documentaries on it too. Today I went to AI. I went to ChatGPT, and I asked them. Hold on, let me see if it.
I've never used ChatGPT, by the way.
Okay, hold on.
Never used it.
I think I still have it loaded up. It's very slanted because everything is. Okay, so I typed in, why did the 7 building collapse? And then it says, the collapse of the World Trade Center has been subject to extensive investigation analysis, according to official report, blah, blah, blah. And here's number 1, fire-induced damage. World Trade Center 7 was struck by debris from the collapse of the nearby North Tower, which I could see, which ignited fires on multiple floors. These fires were fed by office furnishings and other combustible materials. People are disputing whether jet fuel could take down steel beams in the World Trade Center, burning at like fucking 10,000 degrees. We're talking about office furnishings and combustible materials that caused structural failure, which caused it to collapse. I'll just leave it at that. Like, are you fucking kidding?
Right.
Oh, the couch is on fire. Run out of the building. The whole thing's going to go down. Like, that building was not as tall as, obviously, the Trade Center, but like, they were sitting there, they took it down.
Yeah.
When I heard that, when I finally saw, I was really curious even back in the day. I'm like, oh, wait a second. They just really wanted to get rid of 3 buildings. Maybe this building was too low, like the Pentagon, and they couldn't hit it with a plane, so they just detonated it. Because if you watched it, I didn't want to get into this, but if you watch the 2 towers go down, you would literally see these gusts of air come down before the pancaking of the
right.
You could watch it, and it's just like, when you're watching it live or you're watching it, I used to watch all the 9/11, on 9/11, History Channel would have something, and they're fascinating to watch. As sad as that day was, it just, you find yourself glued to the TV watching it because I know you were young, but you were not young enough, to not remember it.
Right.
You were in school, so I'm sure you guys talked about it.
You don't want to know what grade I was in. I probably was I was in kindergarten. I think.
That's right. You were 5. I keep saying it was 20 years ago. It was 23 years ago. All right.
I just remember going home early. That was
my
it.
First year working at Stonebridge. How about that?
That's crazy. I know. I remember just going home early and not understanding. It's kind of weird being adjacent though. Like I've always thought about that kind of stuff. Like if New York is a mecca. Miami's a mecca. DC is a mecca of where there's a lot of people. So of course, if they're gonna do anything, they want to hit the big places. And sometimes just think about like we're literally adjacent. We're not that far. If something big enough.
If they want to attack New York, we're in the blast zone.
Yeah, I was like, we're screwed.
Like,
we're screwed.
Like nukes and shit.
Yeah. Like I'm like, should I move? No, I'm like, no, but I'm just like literally.
You look at like Hartford, and even Bridgeport has the big banks. Hartford has all these
New Haven
companies. New Haven is pizza. Like fucking Chicago's really pissed at us. They could just like launch some missiles and say fuck you, New Haven.
I think that we do have something nuclear in New Haven. It's under. I actually live. My parents still live there.
The naval bases up in Groton.
Yeah.
Nuclear subs.
Yep. Yeah. I've sold to them before. Yeah. Not anything nuclear.
The P-lights.
Yeah. But no, it's like I just think about this and I'm like, we're literally adjacent or parallel, whatever you wanna call it. I'm like, yeah, we're in the blast zone. But I'm like, yeah, no, I don't unfortunately remember. But it's part of my history though. No matter how old I was, it's part of my history. It's just to think about people being born after that, and it's not a part of their history necessarily. Like they didn't live through it.
I like to say, is that your first like I remember where I was moment in life? Or do you have hazy memories of it?
Like I said, I remember being in kindergarten and going home early, but I was more happy about going home early. And then now looking back at it, it's just like, no, that wasn't. I remember where I lived and everything. Yeah, so I guess it is like your where you were kind of moment.
Mine was the space. I talked about this in previous podcasts. Was the space shuttle in '86? They like wheeled in the TVs into your
yeah.
Like it's almost like they wheeled them in before it blew up. It's like, wait a second. I believe me. I've talked on length about this shit too. I'm a nut.
But it makes me sad that I can never. It's the one thing though that makes me sad that I can never experience ever being like. Not saying I was there. No, nobody wants to. But like having gone to the towers, like at least my mom, you were able to like see them for what it was worth. I don't know if you've ever been, but what I'm saying is like,
it was
like you were around. Yeah, you've probably passed it. I mean, I now see the place. I mean, the building that's now in its place. I've been to the memorial and everything like that. So I get to say that I don't want that to go down clearly, but it's just like it's one of those things where it's like I got robbed. I never get to experience actually going there. I was around. It's unfortunate. It's definitely an unfortunate event, but. And that makes me sorry. This is like an off-topic thing, but like when
this whole show is off-topic.
When extremists like ruin things, it just makes me sad sometimes. I'm like, it's something that I don't get to experience. Like I remember when some extremists, I don't know what country, they were like literally like tearing apart some of the monuments and things that were built in ADs of time. I'm just like, why? Right. I know that like it's just like. There's no care in the world. Yeah. I'm like, why attack something new? Right. Like I'm like, it's just something that you don't. It's just baffling to me because I'm like, I would never be able to, do that. But when I was doing the research, I was like looking at people that were like, this guy, I think he was just there the day before. He has pictures of being there. He had videos. And of course, he was going to go show off his video to his friends that he was there the day before to prove it. Because, when you're young, friends don't believe you.
I was there.
The whole entire thing, his whole entire camera breaks before he gets to even show it. But it's just like, literally, it's just crazy to think about that.
That's why I like saying I just literally slept through it.
Yeah, like literally.
I probably could have gone to the beach, and I live right by the beach in West Haven, and probably saw some smoke in the skyline. And I had just moved back from Florida, so a lot of my phone calls were people from Florida.
Right.
Oh my God, are you in the shit?
Right. No, we're too far.
I got a bagel in the toaster right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know where I was when Sandy Hook happened, though, and I don't know where I was. No, that was only.
I to like a CNN report on my phone, and I'm like, Sandy Hook. I'm like, I know that's near us.
Ooh.
But it was. I don't know. Like when you just said like extremists, like it's in your like breaking shit. I almost feel like that mentality is coming into this country, like. Whether you fucking like the thought of Christopher Columbus or whatever these statues they're ripping down, and it's just it's not even questions asked anymore. It's not even a debate. It's not a town hall meeting. It's just fucking knock it down. And it's
right.
First of all, like people don't put into effect or account that people were commissioned to build these,
right,
and spent probably years on making them, and you just want to tie a rope around it, and drag it down, and smash it on the ground, like. You want to remove, okay, well, let's do it the proper way.
Exactly.
And then we can put it to a place where it doesn't offend you, or put it in a museum, or put it somewhere.
Right.
Because it was crafted by ancestors.
Exactly.
And it's just, I don't know, I feel like that kind of, when you that triggered me, I was like, hey, that's kind of what's going on in this country some places. Attacking old shit because someone read that he was a racist in 1492.
Yep.
How the fuck do we know?
It's literally crazy. I'm like, people don't think anymore. People just go off of feeling, which is, to me, like, you have to have both. You have to have feeling and, not wherewithal, but intelligence. Mm-hmm. People are just going off of feeling and following. At the end of the day, the people are just sheep, so they'll do crazy things like that for literally no reason. And I'm like,
but followers.
It's literal followers. Yep, exactly.
Join in.
I never. I'm like, I can't. Even at the minimal, I'm like, look at it's. I always make this joke. I'm like, when I'm driving, I'm like, look at all these people in one lane. There's a whole other lane that's open. Nobody wants that lane. I'm like, I'm going right in that one. I'm like, you guys are all sheep. You're all going straight. Like, what? Why are you not in this lane over here? They all do the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, no. But what I was also in the goal, this is like another off-topic thing. Like I said, the reason why I had like 9/11, Sandy Hook, ISIS, and the pandemic, ISIS and the pandemic kind of go together a little bit more, and I'll get there. It's because I was thinking about it when, like, I was just thinking of conspiracy theories about how things happen, and it's never talked about again. Mm-hmm. Like, I do remember where I was when ISIS was doing this thing around the world in America, and I remember I was in college, and that situation happened on the train where one of them, I think, was trying to stab somebody, and a good Samaritan was able to like stop it.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Do you know how much I was freaked out by, like, and I had to take trains to get home. Yeah. I was like, it's like what pushed me when I got back out of college and started working to get a newer car, because my parents wouldn't let me bring my car up to college because it was too old. But it was what pushed me to get a newer car, because I was afraid to take trains and stuff like that. And it's kind of like it happened, and now no one talks about it anymore. And I feel like this happened also, like, that's what's also happening with the pandemic. Is like it happened literally 4 years ago, and nobody talks about it anymore.
No one's held accountable.
And I have my thoughts on that.
Pfizer does not have to release their findings until like 2075. We'll all be, you'll still be.
Yeah, I personally don't want to be kicking. I probably won't. I'll be literally 100 and something if that's the case. I think.
No, you won't.
No,
I will.
I mean, we're in.
You'll be like 80.
Yeah, like something.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around. I like,
my father, God bless his soul, he passed just before 80. That was kind of been my whole life. Like, 80's good.
Yeah, 80, I think so.
When I get to 80, I might reassess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at 85 or 90. I just don't want to. I want to be mentally there. Like, physically, if I'm in a wheelchair, whatever, if I'm mentally still there and I can talk and hold a conversation and I'm, dude, don't let me go yet.
That was my great-grandmother. She lived I think, up until 90-something. She wanted to live in her own house for the rest of her life. She couldn't at a certain point. But I call them old folk homes for work, and I'm just like, do I really want to live into that age? They look great, the people that I see when I go there, but I'm like, do I really want to live into that age? Like, when falling now is not fun. So I don't want to. So
yeah. Grandma broke her hip again. Like, oh fuck.
And this also brought the topic of the pandemic to mind too, was because I'm just like, I really thought about it. I'm like, no wonder why. No, and this is no offense, but why they were taken out so easy, because I'm like, they live in these communities where one person has it and it just freaking spreads. But it's just crazy to me how now we don't talk about it anymore. Nope. Now we don't talk about the fact that you didn't need the shot. Wait, hold on. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, I'm fucking one of the proudly unvaccinated.
I'm so pissed that I am. And it was because I didn't do it by choice. It was that whole job situation. I worked for a really, really large company, and they were like, well, if you don't get it, for 2 weeks later for them to be like, never mind, and I already got it. And I'm just like, what was the reason? What was the reason?
Like,
literally
Biden isn't being held accountable, and I know we don't talk about politics, but he's not being held accountable for making these mandates and people losing their jobs.
Yes.
And now it's just like, oh wait, we really didn't need to do that. Even Fauci admitted to it. And
exactly.
It's like, what the fuck are we even talking about here?
Yes. That's
I mean,
I'm getting really close.
And it's like you're not allowed to sue them. Like, if you get the shot, that's the crazy thing.
And you're putting the virus into you.
That shot, you can't sue the government, no matter what happens to you. That's part of the deal. And it's like, whoa. So I will say, I was always anti-vax, but there was a point when they told me I couldn't go to concerts and do like, no, seriously. Like, I'm like, maybe I'll just get the Johnson & Johnson, right?
Yep.
And I've said this story a million times, but I want your listeners to hear. People that are listening to you. I scheduled the Johnson & Johnson. My brother called me a couple days later. And he's like, yo, did you get the shot yet? And I said, no. He goes, dude, don't do it. I go, what happened? He goes, and he got a different one. He got like the Pfizer or whatever, or Moderna maybe.
Was it the Moderna?
He got the shot. He sat down. He remembers the nurse walking up to him, and then he woke up in a hospital. They said his eyes went white. He went into like anaphylactic shock. And I'm like, okay. So I actually had a doctor's appointment a couple days later. So I went to my doctor. He's like, are you vaccinated yet? I said, never. And I told him the story. And my doctor's cool, and he's like, listen, it's completely up to you.
It should have always been a choice. It should have never been.
That, I work in a bar. Like they're not going to mandate them there. So I was like, you know what? I love my brother. So glad it happened to him first. Thanks for taking the bullet for me, bro. But like I was just like, what the fuck was I even thinking? So my girlfriend had to take it from work. Her son took it twice, and it's a topic I want to deep dive into, but I won't.
Why?
I won't because of them. And like,
okay. I got it.
And everything, like, because I read a lot of stuff, and this includes you, and it's just like, I know it's minimal, it's low percentage, but it's a percentage that no one needed attached to them.
I feel like, because I got COVID twice, and what's funny though is the COVID that I got before the shot was amazing. And sorry, again, I don't want to offend, but the COVID that I got before was amazing. I was like moving, not sick, well, clearly I was sick, but like not sick. I didn't
even know I had it.
For a week, I didn't know I had it. It was literally around people. None of them caught it from me. None of them got it. And I was in my parents' house. They didn't get it. I was at work. Nobody got it. I didn't realize I had it until I couldn't taste or smell anymore. Like, it was really hard for me to eat Popeyes one day, and I'm like, the last thing I ate was macaroni and cheese.
You can't eat Popeyes. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, and I was like I literally had to blow my nose to. This is disgusting, but I had to blow my nose to eat. And then, but
that's like the flu. I mean,
yeah, that's what it is. And then, but granted, I get the shot, which is, it doesn't say like it's supposed to like is supposed to be a preventative, basically. And
when they first promoted it,
it was like, you'll never get it.
There. You're not going to pass it on to anybody. Like Rachel Maddow's famous for, it stops with you. Everyone get it. And like, wrong.
Completely wrong. And and just to throw this tidbit in, what's funny is on my card, I didn't even realize this. So I did the one where you had to get 2 rounds.
Yeah.
I got 1. Why did the nurse already sign the second one? I didn't even know. Oh. I scheduled for the second one. I'm like, wait, there's already 2 dates up here.
Oh, really?
So basically I could have got away with not even getting the second part of it, essentially. I still did, though. So now I have like 3 signatures. Granted, it doesn't matter. But like...
That's my COVID card. That's my girlfriend's handwriting. She is a nurse. Hold on. Where do I put it? Over here. There it is. I used it once to get into Toad's place for a 3 Doors Down concert. And I just keep it for like shits and giggles now.
Right, yeah, I keep mine in my car.
But like 3 years ago, like, oh my God. Like, and people were begging me, because I had a connection, begging me to get them.
And isn't that like technically against, what is that thing called? Like, why were we being forced to show that we had a shot? HIPAA. I forget. I think it is HIPAA.
HIPAA, yeah.
It's against, so now we're just breaking all the rules. Like, right. That we were told you're not, okay, so to go back on topic. So I get the shot. I get COVID again last year, probably from Stonebridge. I literally got sick right after. We could be a germaphobe or germ there, yeah. And literally the worst COVID I had. So me not having the shot, granted, could have just been a fluke, had an amazing bout of it. I just couldn't taste or smell. Got the shot, my second bout.
Knocked out.
Oh my gosh, it was bad. I can taste and smell. I'd rather not have been able to taste and smell.
Right.
I was stuck glued to the toilet with the shakes, freezing, and also getting hot, body in pain, like aches and pain. And I'm like, this is wild. I'm like, I'm not saying it's because of it, but it's like kind of weird, the correlation of not having the shot prior, having amazing COVID, getting the shot, and then like literally being miserable when I got it.
It's man-made.
Yeah.
Like there's no way, like if
exactly.
you get a common cold, everyone kind of has the same fucking reaction. When it's man-made, you got some people that can't taste and smell. Some people that just have a mild cold. Some people have nothing. You've been on the toilet for a week. Yeah. Like it's like, wait a second. This is genetic. This is man-made.
Yeah. Like it was crazy, and thank gosh at that point I was working remote. So they just like, yeah, just take it easy. We're not like, and thank God that job didn't make me like, use all my PTO to cover the 2 weeks. They were just like, they still paid me for it. Good. I could just work from home. But that was like another thing. Mandate, yeah. I'm like, so you're also, because I remember at the beginning, if you got it, I was a part of that lucky few that if I got it, they didn't force you to use your own PTO. They let you leave and you still got your pay or whatever. Yeah. You still got your pay. But like, well, granted, now it's completely different. But remember when they took that away? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, well, you get it, but you're forcing me to not come to work. People get the flu every day and still come to work. People get sick. When I was younger, this is kind of devious. When I would get a cold, I would literally want to be in public so I can just not, so because my thought was, this is bad. My thought was that if somebody else gets it, then I'll be fine. So I would like try to like get somebody else to get my colds, because then every single time somebody else got my colds, I would be fine after.
Fucking COVID shield right here. Holy Christ.
But no, I wasn't that person with COVID that would go in public. I think that's really shitty, to be completely honest. But
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, especially in the beginning.
Like
but
no one knew.
Even when I got it, when it was like chill, I wasn't gonna go into public and spread it. Like I just was like, I'm just gonna stay home. And plus, my second round was also physically impairing me, so there's also that. True. But I'm just like, they were forcing you to not be at work for 14 days and use your own sick and PTO. That's not fair.
Well, I got forced to stay home for fucking 7 weeks because the restaurant closed.
Oh, well, you were getting paid for that though, right?
Well, so here's the thing. So we were allowed, so what happened with this shitty state of ours is we could all file for unemployment.
Right.
Now, I think you get a pretty good sense of the kind of money I can make at Stonebridge.
Right.
So $600 a week really isn't cutting it for
nope.
me. And when everyone went on, every restaurant employee in fucking Connecticut, they had this archaic system at unemployment, and it just crashed. So I didn't see my first check till now. Mind you, I take the month of January off to go to Florida every year, and this is so February. I just start kind of working again, and this is basically March, around St. Patrick's Day when we shut down.
Right.
And I don't know how much. I just spent it all, like credit cards, whatever. I'm like, oh fuck, and I got a mortgage, and I got this car payment. And this is not why I'm voting for Trump, but Trump literally saved all of our asses because he added the extra $600 on top of the $600.
Yeah.
So we were making $1,200 a week sitting home.
I wish I got that.
Yeah, we were just sitting home making $1,200.
I was considered.
And no traffic on the highways or the roads.
Oh my gosh. This
I used to go to a liquor store and put a 6-pack in my. I admit this all the time. I put a 6-pack of fucking. Viva wasn't around, so it was a Viva of like White Claw. And I literally would just drive up and down West Haven, Milford Beaches until my 6-pack was done and I'd go home. Like, I wasn't going to get pulled over. There was nobody on the road. No one was outside. My windows were down. My fucking sunroof was open. It was like grand. It was awesome.
I was in New York, actually. I know this is like morbid. I was having a ball. Yeah. I was able to drive. And there was nobody. That's when because this was around the time when they opened the restaurants back up. So this is like summer. This became summertime. Yeah. And it was funny because I would look and I'm like, what the hell? So like literally, okay, we're supposed to be 6 feet away, but tell me why like I seen an Applebee's with a table right here and people are back to back. So because we're outside, it can spread through the air to the next person, but because we're outside, you can put the tables right next to each other. That doesn't make any sense.
Or you walk in with your face mask on, and then you take it off. And now I'm vulnerable. Thanks, awesome. Hope you enjoy your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say the one plus though.
That's right away when I knew this was bullshit.
They liquor going out to get liquor was amazing. I remember we went to like a restaurant, and like when you get like mimosas, they put it in like a champagne glass, so you're getting gypped because it's like this tiny or whatever. My gosh, that was the best time to drink too because they were doing disposable cups, so you were getting like a freaking 16 ounce plastic cups, and it was like freaking unlimited. Oh, it was a beautiful time to be. I know this is morbid.
Certain aspects of COVID I miss.
The roads being clear.
I used to drive down Route 1. I was like, oh, this is great.
Amazing.
And like half of America, if not more, were scared to even leave the house. So I'm like, I'm going out.
My grandmother went out before I did. I wasn't scared, but when the restaurants were open back up, I said, oh, she's going to restaurants. I'm going to restaurants too. I was living it up. It was so nice.
My best friend, so we both work at Stonebridge. So when we first like opened up, only the patio. And granted, we were very lucky because we have a lot of patio space.
Yeah.
So we had this like long pole that was 6 feet, and we measured out all the fucking tables, and we were like blah 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 blah. And I wore those little like scarves you pull up, and he wore the fucking face shield. We were like, I'm not wearing this N95 mask in the fucking middle of the summer outside. Fuck you.
I got lucky. I worked for a company that had N95s. People were hitting me up like nobody's business because we were the last company to have them until but like one of the few. I wore, and it probably was unsanitary. I wore my N95 until like I was like, okay, I'm about to just wear like the normal one because I don't want to walk around like this. I was that person too that when people were starting to wear a mask, I'm like, I'm going to the store without mine. So people were looking at me like I was the crazy. To then find out that 6 feet didn't even matter. Yeah.
So actually, this is I told you to get off topic. So this reminds me, I was at the mask mandate. So it just came into effect for everywhere. So like I go to Stop and Shop, right? So Stop and Shop now they have the arrows. You go up this way down. So I'm going up an aisle correctly, and my mask is not around my nose. And this little old lady in her cart's going the wrong way and points it out to me. And I said, well, if you went the fucking right way. And then I stopped and I'm like, you know what? She's just programmed.
Right.
It's not her fault.
Right.
Like this is how ridiculous this has gotten.
Yep.
And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, and I just pulled it up. I said, I don't need to argue with you.
Right.
I don't know you.
Right.
And this is what you've been taught and told, just like everyone else. Whatever. And
you remember how they were putting it down like their throat too, like clearly because they were more vulnerable because whatever. But it didn't matter really what you were. Like I had a cousin, I was completely healthy. People were completely healthy and getting, like you said, different bouts of it. And then you can be completely unhealthy and still, be fine or whatever. Right. So like none of it made sense. And it's just like, just to look back at it. And I remember being in New York, I think the day after they had, it was either the same day or the day after. I didn't really give a crap. And I remember my contact fell out of my eye on the subway. And guess what I did? Put the thing back in. I said, if I get COVID, I get COVID. Right. Because I'm just like, I don't, like, and I did care at a certain point, especially when it started to get scary. Like, even
you were 25.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have, even I was 46. I'm like,
I wouldn't let people,
I'm worried about my parents.
I was looking for a house then. And, like, even then, it was like, there was supposed to be a system. You were supposed to make appointments to see a house. That's how I got COVID in the first place because they weren't wiping down the things that you touched in the house. So that's how I got COVID in the freaking first place. It just was like, it was all just chaos.
Package outside for 3 days before.
Yeah, my mom was like, don't bring it in. I'm like, dude, it's cardboard. It's cardboard. I'm bringing it in right now.
Once this shit hits the air, it pretty much dies.
Yeah, it dies. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm bringing it in right now. Like, looking back at it, it's just like, that was literally chaos. And I was supposed to go on a trip, and I would have been on the trip when it became like an actual thing. I would have been stuck in Spain. How bad would that have been?
I knew some people that got stuck overseas.
I would have been, and I would have had somewhere to go because it was like at a friend's house. So I was like, I would have been living. I should just went on the trip, but anyway, like I said, I had.
You went on that trip.
But
one last story. So I was getting to is so we were working, and he had the shield, and it was so funny one night. It was pretty early on. I think like insides were allowed to be open now, but like still, 6 feet, but still people wanted to sit outside. So he went up to a table and some lady just started bitching at him about his face shield because you need a mask if you're gonna wear a face shield. And he just looks at her. He's like, "Well, I ain't fucking waiting on you." And he just walked away. He's like, "Dude, like, stay home."
Yes.
Like, why are you going to a restaurant? It is literally, it's a germ regardless.
Yeah. Yes.
If there's no COVID, that's usually where you go on a cruise ship and you get a stomach bug. It's just part of the game, like you're gonna get sick. Stay the fuck home.
I literally love his response because it's just like, do you not see what you're doing right now? You're out in public and you're telling me
without a face mask on, telling me that I need to put mine on. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I literally wish I like wrote like a diary during it because like every once in a while like this memory will pop in my head of like these people in the restaurant and I'm like, dude, we literally lived in Banana Land back then. It literally was. It was just so stupid, and and to your point, there's no accountability. It's just brushed under the rug. It'll move on, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised in the next 4
Oh,
months.
yeah.
Something comes up. I've already read fucking bird flu was.
They're just planning it now.
Stanford, they're just waiting. They want some states are already doing mail-in balloting again, and this whole thing was planned to get Trump out of office. You can never convince me otherwise. It was all the mail-in ballot boxes, the drop boxes. People didn't have to show up in person to vote, which I think is ridiculous.
I didn't even know that because I definitely went in person.
Huh. Yeah. Well, for that year, yeah.
I didn't even realize
that was the presidential year.
I definitely went in person. I remember having my mask on. I just had moved to Shelton. I mean, it didn't wipe out. Is this a bad joke? Is this a morbid joke if I say it didn't wipe out enough people? Because when I'm on the road, I'm pissed every day. Where did all these people come from?
Right.
I'm before COVID, I feel like there was less people on the road. COVID, amazing roads.
Right.
And then now I feel like it's 1,000 more people on the road.
Yeah. I'm lucky. I live in town. I work in town.
I mean, I work from home, but it's just
I still do, I drive around North Post Road. I go on the highway. I'll drive to, Bridgeport, Fairfield for something. And you're right. It's fucking nuts. I just drove, a couple weeks ago on a Saturday. I had to drive to New Rochelle for a wedding. And we left at 10 a.m. And it took me 2 hours and 10 minutes to get to New Rochelle. Not even New Rochelle, sorry. To White Plains. And they literally, so GPS, AI, took me off the highway and to maybe in Westport. And then I just sat in traffic through Westport to try to get to the Merritt Parkway. So it wound me all around, back streets, but everyone else's GPS is doing
telling the same thing.
Telling the same thing. So I'm like, what the fuck? So we get on, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're on the Merritt. I'm like, we're cruising right along for about 30 seconds, and then it's just stop and go. So, I mean, the wedding wasn't until 4. We got there a little after 1, and then the room wasn't ready right away, and I was about to flip out. I gotta change. I gotta get my suit and all this shit and whatever. But yeah, it's the traffic around here. I mean, it beats LA, but Jesus Christ.
I just think that there's maybe they always say less people are working now. I'm like, why are? We can end it after this.
I don't know logistics behind it. It's weird because still a lot of people, like you said, a lot of jobs are still working at home and
not really. When I was
a lot more still before COVID though.
Yeah.
Like you said, traffic was okay before COVID, great during it, and now it's worse. It's a good point. Why is it worse now?
I literally remember. Before COVID, this would be my thing. I feel like the roads were decent. And I remember around Christmas time was when I used to hate going to the stores because everybody's out trying to Thanksgiving, Christmas time, they're trying to shop for food, trying to shop for whatever. So I used to hate having to go to the Hampton Plaza. That's when I used to live in New Haven. And now I feel like no matter what day it is of the week, it's like Christmas. These plazas are freaking filled with people. And I'm like, what happened? Where? Why is nobody at work? Also, why am I not at work? And I'm I'm one of those people now. I mean, I've always been this person. I'm first store to open up, which is usually Walmart. Go there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I literally complete all my shopping before 8 a.m. because I don't like people. It's just people do the dumbest thing, stand in the middle of the doorway. Do you understand it's a doorway and it's the only entrance into the store?
Okay, fuck out of my way.
Come on.
That's why I love having my Mondays, Tuesdays off. I do my banking, my groceries.
Yeah, literally. I'm like a morning pro. Anyway, I know you have your
right, so,
not donkey of that you don't.
No, well you call it that.
No, I don't think we can.
It's less. So I got my. I brought it back a couple weeks ago. Douche of the Week, it's called. It's one of my original bits when I started this show about 3.5 years ago. Basically, I just, during the week I scroll through the internet and I just find someone that's really fucking, are you fucking kidding me kind of thing. And it's been all over the place. LeBron James has been in it a lot, just so you know. I just don't like LeBron.
His son. Yeah, his son.
His son, yeah. Well, It's actually, I don't mind his son. I just think he's in a tough spot. So my douche of the week this week is a lady called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Dacie, D-A-C-I-E, Yeager. She's from Oklahoma. So she was at a casino in Oklahoma and she walked out to her car and saw a bunch of police activity around it. And it's on a police cam, body cam. And she walks up and she's all smiling. She says, "Is everything okay?" And the officer's like, "Is that your child in the car?" And then her face immediately, goes down, and she starts having a little panic attack. And she's like, yes. And they're like, well, how long has the baby been in the car? She goes, oh, I just stopped here to get his father said he was inside. I went to go get the father. And they're like, without the fucking baby? It's fucking 90 degrees out. And she's like, oh, no, he's just inside. Blah, blah. Now she's like scrambling, right? And they bring her over to the car and they let her get the baby out. She's holding the baby. Baby survived, thank God. And then they brought her over to the police cruiser and he's talking to her. Now it's kind of a different body cam. And now casino security come out. This was 3 p.m. She got there at 10 a.m. to gamble. The baby was in the car for 5 fucking hours. I can't believe the baby's still alive. All windows up, everything. So now she's like, still trying to backtrack. That's not what happened.
She was clearly like sober.
So yeah,
I'm not trying to say just because you're not.
She was sober. She was just at gambling at slots on the. They followed her all around the casino for 5 hours. It was like 10:30 in the morning to 3 p.m. So they arrest her. They put the baby in, child welfare, DCF or whatever. And I haven't really followed up on this story, but like,
that's insanity. Like to be coherent. Granted, like I said, I don't want to blame it on not being coherent because that's still wrong no matter what state you're in.
You leave your kid in the backseat to run in to get cigarettes and you forget to pull your kid out of that.
Right.
That's one thing. But 5
hours.
Your child never gets into your head after 5 hours of gambling. Never once you're thinking, oh, where's little Milo? Like seriously, I have to be joking about it, but like, what the fuck? Like, my Kia, right? It's like a 2023. Mm-hmm. I'll put a bag of groceries back there, and and this is great app for the car, AI. Literally, I get out of the car and it goes ding, and then I'm like, what's that? It says check your rear seat.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm sure all cars will have that eventually once we, get rid of all the older cars, but like, just the fact that we need that to remind us that our child's back there is kind of fucked up in general, instead of my eggs and bacon that I bought from the grocery store. You know what I mean? But this lady, Daisy Yeager, like, what the fuck?
That is insanity.
Douche of the week.
To gamble. Like, I don't... And I'm like, when she goes to court, I wonder what she's gonna try to like plead, because like what like, I even get sad when I see like, and then like they'll have like the window cracks, but on like a hot day when like I see a dog in the car and like somebody's like grocery shopping, I'm like, what? Like,
I carry a knife that has that little pin that you can break windows with just for that purpose.
Really?
Like if I see a dog or a baby, I'm just gonna smash that fucking window. I
mean, that's amazing, and like a good Samaritan kind of thing, because I remember. So like in this, I'll say this is a plus about a Tesla and probably any of the newer cars. Tesla actually has a dog feature. So I remember I was out with my dog. I don't know. I just brought him. And so the car's completely off, but the AC stays. Well, I guess it's not really completely off, but the AC stays on. I left him in the car. It was like for a few minutes. I was going to the grocery store, but like when people just 80 degrees, and I get that you have the window cracked, but dude, that like even when you're getting gas. I remember me and my cousin, he was pumping gas into his car. He shut the car off for like 2 minutes. I'm over here dying. Right. I am dying. So imagine that poor dog as you're grocery shopping in 90 degree or kid. Yeah. In 90 degree weather. And I'm just like, granted, we're not going to be at that point where everybody's going to have a new car, but I'm like, I respect the Tesla and any newer car that has that feature of like having AC that can stay on. Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's just electric, because again, I know gas cars, I don't know how that works, but I'm just like, it's a beautiful thing. But going back to this woman, I can't fathom, like, you put your kid in the car to go gambling, and you thought that it was smart, like, so was this like premeditated? Like, okay,
I would assume for 5 hours it has to be.
It has to be there's no way you forget.
And you go to a place that is so like busy and surveilled, like to think you're actually going to get away with it for that long.
Because like
you would have been better off leaving your child at home by herself or himself. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't condone that. I'm just saying, like, you're literally putting him in a hot box that literally is documented killing people all over this country or the world. Really, it's just sad. It's like,
that is so bananas. Like, you literally just thought about, okay, that the kid will be fine. Like, and it's a toddler,
needs a new pair of shoes,
and it's like, and it's a baby, so it's not even like, even if the baby would be,
16 months.
It's not even old enough. Like, granted, you can't do this either, most likely. But even if the kid was like, let's say, I don't know, 7 or whatever, and you're like, stay in the car.
Right,
they can
have their own
like,
to get out of the car. Yeah.
So like, they have their way to get out.
Right.
If you left them with snacks,
Something.
water, or whatever. But that baby can't do anything.
Why would you leave a baby in a car just knowing that someone could steal that car with the baby in it?
Right.
It happens a lot.
Right. I've seen.
I've never had a kid, but like if I did, like wherever I went, I'm getting that baby out of the baby seat. You're coming in the store with me. You know, like get those little carriages in the front, and like just never leaves my sight.
Right.
Ever. Because that's that split second that there's fucking predators out there. They're taking that baby and they're selling it, and it's gone. You'll never get it back.
Right. I literally don't get it, because just like, you put it in the car. And sorry, I don't mean to call it but like, you put the baby in the car and you just thought that was just a smart idea. In you said Las Vegas,
a 16-month-old after 5 hours.
Yeah,
like, I mean, they have a pretty steady feeding time, right? Or at least drinks, like water.
Like, and I can even though, like you say, you're not supposed to do that, but I can.
Oklahoma's hot around this time of year.
Understand that you're like, you get a pack of cigarettes and it's just like, okay, getting this baby out is too much to just run in and run out.
Right.
Granted, I know you're still not supposed to do that, but like.
Right.
That's wild, and I know it's not the first person to ever do this.
No, but I mean, like, where like it's been like 5 hours.
The casino is crazy. Like I heard more of like grocery store shopping or something like that. It's still wrong.
And a lot of people forget.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I forgot. Back there, I forgot. Like,
but casino is intentional. It's intentional.
And then she had this excuse, thinking she'd get away with it, and the cops are on it.
And it's like, like you said, it's like the most surveillance place in the world to think that, oh, you're gonna get away with lying and be like, I was looking for my husband.
Once they get you on the first camera, like they can just follow you all around.
Exactly.
Like we do it at Stonebridge, maybe we follow you everywhere you go in Stonebridge until you get in that fucking fight.
Right.
You know? But all right, thank you so much. Great conversation today. Great AI, great 9/11 and douche and all sorts of stuff. I appreciate you coming on so much.
I had so much fun.
Yeah, can't wait to see you again at Stonebridge, and I'll have some watermelon vivas for you. Maya Love, you can catch her on Instagram, and we'll tag you on Facebook. And this show's on Apple and Spotify and YouTube, and it was live on Twitch, but it'll be on Twitch for a couple more weeks. So next week I got Ian Biggs coming on. You're never there for happy hour on Fridays, I don't think, but Ian's a very great musician.
I didn't even know you guys had one.
Yeah, we do. We do music and stuff. Ian Biggs is one of our best, longest tenured happy hour musicians there, but he travels the world with his music. So he's coming on next week. Finally, been trying to get him on, and I nailed him down before he goes to Boston. So he'll be on next week. And Maya, thanks again.
Thank you.
Coming on. That was awesome, and you have a wonderful, stay cool. And you don't have any kids, right?
No.
Yeah, well, when you do, don't leave them in the front car at Mohegan Sun for 5 hours. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.